And again today there's almost no wind. There is some wind, but not a lot. It has been raining all morning. It's just dry for about half an hour, and the sun came out. I parked up there, show you later. I was just out with Bo, so I thought use the opportunity to shoot this. I'll want to take the gimbal out and walk to the lake later on, but first let's see what's on the sign at the fence there, if we can take Bo with, because there are cows laying around. I don't mind, Bo doesn't mind, so if the cows don't mind, let's see what's on that sign. It looks like it just says no fishing in the lake, and then that there are grazing cows around. There's nothing about no dogs allowed, so yeah, then we'll take the gimbal out a bit later and have a walk to the lake. Now we first want to go into the visitor center, check that out, and then get back to the van for a minute, get everything ready, and down to the lake. Good morning still, I guess. Let me see. Hang on. Just afternoon. It's just past 12. Went back to the van. I got the gimbal and everything, external mic. Had a bun, a sandwich. Bo had something to eat, and now we are going to the visitor center first, and then walk down to the lake. So yeah, come with. So this is where we parked up last night. There is trash containers. The Raven was in the corner where the white car is now, and yeah, it's a parking lot in front of the visitor center. There's a little toilet building. There are shelters, fire pits, an oven, stuff like that. So you could also stay here or picnic. Or that probably isn't a problem then, that we are in the parking lot with the camper van. So yeah, there are several buildings. Here is more of a utility building, I believe, for maintaining the place, a shed with tools and stuff. And at the back there is a picnic area that's covered. And this side is the information building. And there's supposed to be an exhibition about the Viking period also. At that side, at the back, there is a big television screen with information, a touch screen with information where you can learn about the gods the Vikings had, and about this area. So there was a Viking king that lived here right at the border of the lake. So there should be remnants that can be found in the landscape. So I'm very curious. But first we'll go into the information building. Just entered the visitor center where I got a cup of coffee, and look at that. I guess that's one of those big deer that run around here in Denmark. I saw that in the video. The exposition is that way, we're gonna check it out. But you could buy also all kinds of stuff. Oh, there are wachten, je zit Bo. There are the birds. And here is a fellow or lady, I don't know, buried. Yeah, nice. So this, I heard the humming. There's a glass of honey on the bottom, so I heard the humming of the bees. Look. Nice. I already saw the beehives outside. Nice. I'm gonna walk the exhibition now. We're in the exhibition hall now. And yeah, let's see. This is the cult house. I watched the movie at the other side. So these are the two gods figures that were in the cult house. And this is the 2-kilo ring of tissue that was found at the archaeological site. Tissue ring. It's probably 500 cows. That's what it means. Yeah, and with the lake drying up a bit, they found several weapons and jewelry and stuff in the lake. So that's something that happens all over Europe. The drying up of lakes, not exactly the finding of weaponry and jewelry in a lake, but yeah, here is the archaeological site with the King's Hall, and then the house for the guard, the King's Guard, riding guard. They had horses, and these houses were probably for the people close to the king. And this was a fenced area with the cult house, and this is what the cult house, this has to look like, the cult house. Ah, here we see, this is what they think the King's Hall looked like. And inside, with the feast going on, the king and his wife lived in one piece of it, and the other piece was, I don't know if it's the east or the western part, and there were feasts and stuff going on in the other one. This is, they found it, it's a tuning pin from a snare instrument, like I don't know if you can see a picture somewhere of it, but maybe like a little guitar. Here are what seems to be like cups and plates, and grinding stones. So here's a picture of it, what it would have looked like. It dates back to 900 after Christ. $500,000 square meters. And the fenced-in piece was 100 square meters, 100,000 square meters. The big hall, 12 by 48, almost 50 meters. And there are some some items they found. Thank you. Oh yeah, this is nice. This is a little version of the one I saw in, and because I'm a fan of Game of Thrones, a lot is inspired, I believe, with Danish.
Hugin og Munin er Odins ravne.
They are the two ravens from Odin. I don't know if we have it in English. Let's see. No, it's in... who's here? It's only in Danish, so... But, yeah, there are the gods, and these are the ravens from the gods, the goats, I believe these are the goats from Thor's wagon, yeah.
Tandgrisen og tandknosten.
Let's see. Stuff like that. It's nice. But on the other side you can get it in English as well, so... Here are some shields. Viking shields. For kids to see a helmet, a little shield, like a big sword. It went on in the King's Hall with the feasts. Oh, here is the head of the, how was it called, the Ursil wolf. It was a giant wolf given birth to by Loki. That was, yeah, he was a special guy in Danish. Sorry. Culture, mythology. He could change from man to woman to animal. So he gave birth to the wolf, and he took it to the world of gods, where it grew so gigantic that even the gods were afraid of it, and they had to put it on chains to control it. But then it bit off one god, the hand of one of the gods. So yeah. Yeah, look, we've got those in the van too, the sheepskin. That's a good way to stay warm. Here is a binocular looking at the lake. Let's see if we can see something. There's the lake.
More than 1,000 years ago, a local king and his kin lived at Lake Tisu. Join us on this journey back in time and visit his royal residence at the Lake of Tyr. In the Viking Age, Reasø was an island, and shielded by it was the harbour. On the brink of Helleby Å was the trade and workshop area, and on the west brink of Tisu was the royal residence. The great merchant ships sailed the harbour. They carried goods from both England, Ireland, Germany, Russia and the Mediterranean countries. The many rich finds show us this. In the harbour, the goods were loaded onto smaller ships so they could sail up Helleby Å. The river was wider then and held more water, and the journey, the 7 kilometers from the coast of the Great Belt to the royal residence, would not have been long. The water in Tisu was also higher then. The royal residence was therefore on a small island, surrounded by wet moors and the waters from the lake and the river. Strategically well placed, easy to defend and easy to reach over the water. On the banks of Hälleby Å, you found the workshops and the merchants' square. It would be lively and noisy, with the smith and the bronze caster doing their jobs. The comb maker, the wood carver, and the bead maker were eagerly producing their goods, and textiles, both for everyday garments and the woolen sails for the ships, changed hands here. In the workshops, magnificent weapons and jewelry were created for the king and his men, as well as knives, tools, and fire steel for the common man. The travelling craftsmen and merchants lived here on the square at Tissu from time to time. They came when the king threw a feast or held a market. Whole families were staying in these pit houses. These small dugout cabins served both as workplace and home. The archaeological plan shows the buildings within the palisade, on the royal residence around 900. Let us try to recreate the square in all its glamour. First, the King's Hall itself. Almost 50 meters long, it is one of the largest known Viking halls in Denmark. In the western end, the king and his family lived, and in the eastern end, he held his feasts. The dwellings next to the hall were probably home to the Hird, the king's guardsmen, or some of the people closest to the king. These 4 buildings can have been used as stables, storage or pantries. We will get back to the small fenced cult house. This was how the Viking world at Tissu looked over 1,000 years ago. The small fenced cult house is something very special. The figures shown here are from the Norse mythology and are found in the area. We meet both the Valkyries, Freya, and the goats of Thor. In the cult house, sacrifices were made to the gods. But how was it done back then? The Icelandic storyteller Snorri Sturluson describes in the saga of Håkon the Good how smaller animals were killed in the sacrificial celebrations, the cult feasts, around 1,000 years ago. Their blood was then used to dye the court pillars and walls red for the feast. In the cult house we meet 2 wooden gods. They have been sprinkled with blood from the sacrificial animals, and food has been put out for them. Written sources tell us that sacred objects could be kept in the cult houses. So maybe the Ring of Tissu once had its place here? If you arrived as a guest to the king's house, you were led along the path through the big gate. The strong palisade around the estate secured the area against uninvited guests. In the square, the horses were stabled. Horses were expensive and not for everybody. Bridles, spurs, and metal studs and plates from harnesses show us that they were used for riding. Perhaps they were the horses of the Hird, the armed guard of the king. Even before you'd enter the king's hall, the fire smoke and the smell of roasting wild boar would greet you. The warmth of the many people gathered for the feast would fill the eastern end of the hall. In here there was chatter and mead, and an abundance of food was served at the long tables. The bards and storytellers, called skjell, entertained with music and stories. Here you see the lyre player with his string instrument. The tiny tuning screw is an actual find made near the hall, a beautiful memento of the music that sounded at the feasts. The hall stood not alone in the square. Besides the cult house and the smithy, there were 4 smaller buildings. Perhaps they were used for storing food. The farms in the neighbouring Sæby and Bakkendrup could have grown crops like grains, linen, hemp, peas, and field beans. Let us step inside and visit the ones closest to the king. They lived in the nearby longhouse. The fire under the pot at the fireplace would have been lit from morning till night, Perhaps fish soup could be on the dinner menu? The closed sleeping chamber with the large bed would have been quite calm. So this is how the royal residence at Tisø looked around the year 900. A center of power where the Norse religion, trade and craftsmanship held a very high status. A place in Denmark which for more than 500 years was central to the contact with Europe. From the edge of the lake, men and women have been watching weapons being thrown into the lake of Tyr. Once a sacrifice to the gods. Today, a memento of the Vikings and their beliefs, their magnificent craftsmanship and their world at Tisø.
Yeah, that's where we are, Naturpark Åmosen. That runs from up here to the Great Belt. So, yeah. So now you have some extra information. We're gonna go out there.
Aflagde derpå ed til deres herre.
Great
Den danske
Hall.
historieskriver Saxo fortæller om kong Rolf, der boede i sin hal i Lejre på Sjælland. En dag kom en ung fremmed mand til hallen.
See, it's also a stone to grind grain or stuff. Yeah, I think grain. Nice. I don't think Paul feels a lot like walking. Come on, and she immediately lies down on the grass. Yeah, walking down to the lake now. Oh, it's nice to see that exhibition, and it was not really big, and a lot of information I'd already seen on the video screen in that building. So yeah, but I find it to be a nice idea, and I don't mind contributing a bit to what has been done. It was only about €5, so no problem. Yeah, so now we're gonna enter through the fence, the one we checked out this morning. Bo, come this way. And we're right at where the cows were laying down this morning. We're right at the Viking site, at the archaeological site we saw the video of. So now we can walk around. Nothing left, of course. It was all, yeah, of course, yeah, 900 after Christ. Then maybe there's still stuff under the ground, I don't know. They do that sometimes, cover it up to keep it preserved. But they have everything mapped out here on top. So Bo just went into one of the smaller buildings we saw in the videos, like for the people closest to the king. So these are those buildings. Oh, still quite big. They are, I guess, bigger than some of today's buildings. And then there at the end, there would be the building for the King's Guard with the horses, and something like a stable behind. So these buildings are quite the same. Here is a picture, feast in the hall. But that is that would be from on the big building, the King's Hall. So that's that one. But first we're gonna check out the other ones. Walking, come. I gotta watch where I put my feet, because the whole field is full of I don't know what animal. This is not cows do, but it is, hey, I think it's from the birds, like geese or something. I don't know, because it's so many. Hey. So yeah, this would be the building for the King's Guard. Let's see if I have the picture. Yeah. Gate to the Great Hall. Also on the side of this, there's the Great Hall, and that would be the like a shed or something. Boom. So now we're gonna walk over to the Great Hall, the King's, the Viking King's house. So yeah, it's mapped out here with these stones or with these wood pillars. I don't know if these are the original ones or could be, but it goes over the slope, so that's a bit strange then when so it's probably under the ground now, and this is yeah, the landscape changed. Yep, there are a lot of mosquitoes down here. And then we walk over this way, and then we are in the part with the cult house. So this is where those god statues were, and where the Ring of Tissot was found. So a fenced off area within the fences. You can see it here on the picture. It's yeah, this here is where the offerings are made. The animals. Yep, walking on to the lake now. Yep, here is an exit, and then some kind of watchtower. Walking up the stairs in the watchtower, I'm gonna carry bow also. So this is the first level. Now we go over another one. I'm glad bow is little. Oh, there's the door. Let's see. Yep. Gaan we erin. Ah, that's why there is the door. This is the wind. Okay, we're in the watchtower now. The wind's stronger here, so I hope this works. And you also see I'm starting to run out of memory, because I still got 3 YouTube videos on here that I need to upload. But I wanted to visit the lake first, and of course the exhibition and the video and stuff also took some memory. So we'll go down to the lake. Brunner Glad. I don't know if it's supposed to point to the white-tailed eagle that is living here, or that this can be slippery when wet. I guess the second one. One of those cabins you can watch the wildlife with a special glass so birds can't see you. It's, yeah, we're inside that the shed over the water now. You can use to watch birds. There's some geese flying. There's a, I don't know the English name, but maybe you guys, I can get it close enough for you to see. It's oh, hang on, there it is. In the Netherlands we call this a waterhoentje. Nee, een meerkoet. Een meerkoet. This is a meerkoet. You can also see the water being very, very clear. Just turn the camera down a bit, you see? Yeah. Yeah, and there's a fisherman. That binocular inside the exhibition center was straight at that fisherman. There he is at the boat, trying to catch some fish. We'll go outside again. Oh, this is nice. You can see they have a fish eagle. And there's a white-tailed sea eagle. And all kinds of buzzards. So there are a lot of birds of prey. Here are some water birds, some, yeah, how do you say that? And water birds. Yeah, nice. Also see, it's all marshes here. So this is at the lake's edge, of course, but there was in our video also the Viking area was protected by marshes, wet marshes like this. Okay, we're gonna walk up that side now. Let's see. Oh, Ali, kent ze naar het water hier. This is floating. It is really wobbly. Look at Bo. So this is just floating on the water. Boke, kom even kijken. Nee. Just stay in the middle. Yeah. Come on. Look how clear the water is. A lot of geese, you can hear them, you can see them. There's a swan. There go some geese. And the other side too, there's that fisherman again. It's very beautiful here. Let's try this again. That's great. And then those wet marshes, they also, yeah, there's a lot of dead trees and stuff in there. There's a lot of willow that grows here, but there's also very little beauty. And then, I mean, not no beauty, but a little small, like small in size. Let's see if I can. I'm on the walkway now, so yeah. Beautiful yellow flowers with ladybugs on that. So it's not all dead trees, and in the early days livestock and everything getting stuck in it. There's beauty everywhere, you just have to look. We can see him, but there's a hare. Let's see if he moves. Yeah, in the grass, his pointy ears. There he is, right in the middle of the screen. There he is, there he goes. You can see him? Yeah, now you can see him fine. Not a rabbit, it's a hare. It's way longer legs, longer ears. There are the cows, they moved on to the lake. So, and a lot of birds there too, geese. So, I think we'll slowly head back to the parking lot where the van is at, and then yeah, from there on just check what we do. And running, let's see if we can zoom in a bit. And running after one another. I think it's a bit far, but yeah, there they are. From this side, walking back, it also looks beautiful where the visitor center is and the information building and everything. With the rapeseed field. Nice.